And is that Gavin Rossdale alongside? Frequent supporter of Federer. He gets the chance to watch him close up, and watching Federer, hits a couple of cracking shots, but also a fair few number of errors as he goes about his business once again here at Indian Wells. And of course, he's enjoyed plenty of success in the past. That said, it's been some years since he claimed the title.
That's a good play against somebody that doesn't necessarily return that well. Pretty much assured a lot of time for a block return, just trying to get the ball back into play again. Those big grip changes that Andreev don't help him to serve like Federer's coming at him.
Good work all round from Federer there. Anacone watching will be pleased to see him close another point at the net.
Yeah, just put a little bit more height on the ball early on in that rally, a little safer. You can just see, just coming across the ball a touch, just getting it to go away from his opponent as Andreev tried to track it down. The touch slower at this stage, of course. Just one more game before they change. Federer will be hoping that perhaps he can just use that to his advantage, get in a few more points. Disappointed he didn't press home that lead that he had in the previous Russian service game. And although not important in the bigger scheme of his career for Federer, if, as many people suspect, that one of his great motivations at the moment is to reclaim that #1 spot from Nadal and break Sampras's record of weeks at #1, these are massive, massive tournaments for Federer in terms of achieving that goal. Be interesting to see if he does have a good run here at Indian Wells in Miami. At the moment, I believe he's not down on the list for Monte Carlo, but given the fact that he's had a considerable amount of success in getting through to the final there, again, that's big points for him in terms of closing the gap on Nadal. Nadal down on the list for Barcelona as well, but of course he was last year as well. Stan Smith in the middle.
Charlie Passerelle alongside. They could play this game a bit. Still conjure up memories of that final. Was it Stan played against Nastase at Wimbledon, early 70s, and one of my first visits there was watching Charlie Passerelle hitting serves, and stood behind the netting on one of the outside courts. And glad the netting was in front of me. He could still hit it very hard indeed, even though he was in the latter part of his career then. Wonder what he could have done with a modern racket rather than a wooden one.
Well, that was a great example of a top player, or one of the greatest players of all time, up against a good player. who many people feel has got a great forehand, but Federer not frightened about it at all. Every shot into the forehand side, breaking down the strength.
Another game when he's ahead against the server. He'll be annoyed if he lets this one slip. First one of those. Doesn't have such a potent forehand, Andreev, as well, when he's taken up the line with Federer's backhand. He doesn't get the ball quite as cross-court as you would expect him to do off what looks to be such a solid shot. He doesn't find the angles as well as perhaps some of the other players when they're on the run. Another test for the Russian, but he has the answers again. 4-3. Federer fans hoping that he'll make straightforward progress through to the third round. Can he follow in the footsteps of Nadal, who was very emphatic in his first match here again against de Wurst? Sense this might take rather longer for Federer to sort out. Andreev 4-3 up, first set. Well, in some ways it shouldn't have been, because he really just hasn't been clinical enough off his forehand side when the opportunities presented itself. And that's the difference between perhaps now and when he was dominating the tour completely, was the fact that players just didn't have that advantage, that ability to get out of jail when he had them under pressure. The 15-40 point in the last game, he would have topped a forehand winner, and we wouldn't have known that Andreev could have got out of jail with a couple of big serves afterwards. He just wouldn't have allowed them off that hook. Doing a good job of holding his own serve.
Very short working day, isn't it, for these guys?
Touch of envy. Yes, that's really well made. Not his comfort zone up at the net, but it came back quickly, it dipped, and he dealt with it.
Yeah, he really did as well. It's a very testing shot. Didn't actually need to be that good, but we enjoyed it all the same. Delightful touch there from Andreev.
And more to finish. So Federer will have to hold again to stay in this opening set at 4-5.